On today's video, I'm going to give you 6 reasons why you actually might not want to move to Charlotte. Charlotte is an amazing place to live. It's very spread out and it has grown tremendously in the last 10 to 15 years. It's actually quite unrecognizable from what I've heard from people who have moved here 10, 20 years ago. But today I wanted to keep it real and give you 6 downsides why you might not want to live here, which might help you make your decision for yourself whether or not you really do want to live in the area. And if you still decide to move here, do not forget to call me. I'm always available and I cannot wait to help you find your dream home. What actually surprised me, as well as other people that I've talked to, is that the rent is becoming extremely high here in the Charlotte area. The average rent price right now is between $1,400 to $1,800. That is a quite substantial difference from when I moved here 5 years ago, when you could still rent 1 to 2 bedroom apartment between $1,000 to $1,200 to $1,300. So if you're moving here with a large family, and I always recommend renting before buying, so this way you at least know the area before you decide to make your purchase. Be prepared that you will have to most likely pay this kind of price range for your rental. And also if you are doing any type of short-term rentals, that rate is probably going to be higher, because most of the time the leasing offices provide you with lesser price for rental if you commit to a 12-month rental. And a lot of people do not want to commit to that because they plan on shopping for homes within 3 to 6 months time frame. Now I know Charlotte area, especially the counties bordering Mecklenburg County, which tend to be still on a little bit of a rural side, Mecklenburg County has become quite expensive in terms of housing. There are certain areas that are lower than the others. For example, Huntersville and Cornelius are on a higher range in terms of price range. But the average for the Charlotte region, according to our MLS and February 2022 market report, is $360K. It really depends where you go to get this kind of an average. Personally, what I've seen is a little bit higher than this. Of course, this is just an average that they produce according to their statistics. But really, if you want to get something substantial closer to the lake area, you have to be prepared to spend close to above $400,000, if not more, depending on the square footage. Another downside to living in the Charlotte area is that the city is very spread out. The city has not been prepared for the large-scale urban planning that is happening as we speak. There's a lot of construction going on. New communities have popped up recently in the last 10 years, 5 years, and the roads are just not accustomed to a lot of the subdivisions that are situated all around the area. So sometimes you can go into a certain subdivision, and in order to get out of the subdivision and get to work, you encounter some traffic because the road, let's say, out of that subdivision is only 1 lane road. So you do have to plan accordingly and check out the times when that road gets mostly congested and see if maybe you could leave earlier or later so that you can avoid some of that congestion. Usually after the rush hour times or school times, those roads are not as congested, but still Charlotte, in my opinion, is so spread out that sometimes you have people living on the north part, never visiting the south, or vice versa, because it's so much time to get to one part of the city to the other. So it's very spread out, and be prepared that you have to kind of get in your car and get to know the city on your own, and that's going to take a while. Now, in terms of things to do in Charlotte, I do mention in my other videos, so be sure to check them out. I do have a playlist on fun things to do in Charlotte. Be sure to check out this playlist. It has a lot of cool videos about what you can do with your family during the weekend and things you can do when it's warmer outside, or sometimes even when it's cooler. So I would not say Charlotte is a boring city at all. You do have to find things to do. There are plenty, but the downside of the activities is that you probably will not find as many cultural activities in Charlotte as opposed to New York City or Chicago. Large symphonies, multitude of museums, historical places, activities that pertain to operas and theaters. You will not find so many of such cultural activities here in Charlotte, although I am not saying there are not here. They're just quite limited. In my opinion, Charlotte is more geared towards outdoor activities and things that you can do in certain parks, festivals, musical activities, and things that evolve around community events. And the last downside that I wanted to talk about is the job market. The job market, according to statistics, they say it's pretty healthy around the area. Depends on the sector you are in and the kind of job that you are doing, in my opinion. So if you are moving here, my advice would be to try to find job opportunities before you come here, unless you are in a certain profession where you know jobs from that profession are plenty. The minimum wage in North Carolina is $7.25, which is lower than, let's say, a minimum wage in Florida or Connecticut, where that minimum wage is $15 an hour. So you have to be prepared when you come in here that if you are expecting high earnings in Charlotte, unless you work in the banking sector, most likely you will have to adjust. So this would conclude the 6 key major downsides to Charlotte area that in my opinion are the deal breakers for certain individuals that are thinking about moving here. I'm sure there's a lot more cons that we can go on and list, but really it's all about a personal preference. Some people like humid, some people like hot, some people are not bothered by the fact that Charlotte is spread out. Some people love when things are a little bit more accessible. It really boils down to your own personal preference, your lifestyle, what you do, where you work, and how you're planning to live. So I wanted to focus on just the key 6 things that are my own personal advice for you. And now that you're done with this video, don't forget to check out my next video coming up right after this.